Assalamu alaikum, dears, how are you? Everything here in this world, every system, which is complicated and comprehensive, have a very good control system. And we, the humans, as a species, as a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we too are highly complicated, intricate, exquisite system, really. But it needs an exceedingly good control system as well, which exists in our mind. Our mind controls all the system. Our mind controls our life. Many of the people think that my life is bad one, not because of me, but because of my parents, my family, my government, my society. As a matter of fact, all of these things have a role, maybe, but as for the decisive role is concerned, it is played only by our own mind. Look, the people who are seen doing the bad things, knowingly, they know it, they think it is bad, I should not be doing this thing. Despite all that, they are seen doing it. Why? Because they are not having a good control over their mind. So once somebody, if at all somebody is doing a bad thing, unknowingly, undeliberately, that is understandable. But if at all somebody is doing it and that is really bad, it only happens once we are lacking the control over our mind. It is so important. And once we learn to gain a control upon our mind, even up to some extent, even up to 40-50%, I think it has the ability to revolutionize our life and make us a much better, more effective human being. Let's talk about the mind control and how can we gain the mind control. Dear friends and fellows, we need to understand that we need to recognize that your mind is a powerful tool that can be trained. Yes, it can be trained. Number two, acknowledge that your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are interconnected. Yes, our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions are interconnected. For example, I'm thinking that this person is a very bad one. She has done something bad in my life, tried to harm me. What will happen? Automatically, the emotions of hatred, the emotions of disliking will occur in me, and my action will be bad according I mean in front of that person. So this means that the thought which was created that this person is really bad, it has created certain emotions and it has also resulted in the action which was not positive, which in the action which could be either the open aggression or the passive aggression. So it means that it is true that recognize your mind is a powerful tool that can be trained. Acknowledge that your thoughts, emotions, and actions are interconnected. Now let's take the first step of about the mind control, and this is mindfulness and awareness. So mindfulness and awareness, practice mindfulness meditation to increase self-awareness. We need to be better aware about ourselves. So for that purpose, we need to practice the mindfulness. We need to practice the meditation. What is the mindfulness? It is a state of mind. It is a state of mind achieved by consciously focusing our awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting our thoughts, our emotions, and our body sensations, and all of that without judgment. So that is called mindfulness. Mindfulness is an extremely beneficial mind game. it is an extremely beneficial practice of the mind. So for that reason, I think we need to practice it as good as we can. Rather, we need to gain skill in it, and let me assure you that nothing can better our life, nothing can make our mind peaceful enough, make our life peaceful enough as much as this mindfulness can. So for that reason, it must be done on a daily basis, not only on a daily basis, maybe in the morning and evening at the same in the same day. So that is, practice mindfulness meditation to increase self-awareness. The second is observe your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without judgment. We need to keep observing. We need to keep observing what are my thoughts, what are my emotions, and what are my physical sensations, but we need to observe all that without judgment, without calling it a good or bad, just for the purpose of observing it, like we are an onlooker having nothing to do with all that. Simply we are observing it either as a client or as a patient of ours, or simply I just wanted to observe all that. So this is the first step, which is called mindfulness and awareness. Then the next step is called thought management. Thought management. Can we manage our thought? Indeed we can. Again, let me tell you that it is an extremely beneficial exercise. So let's begin. Identify and challenge negative thought patterns. Identification on the one hand, challenging on the other hand. What about what? It is about the negative thought pattern. Break the negative thought pattern. It is your worst enemy. It is my worst enemy. The second thing is reframe negative thoughts with the positive empowering ones. What is this, by the way? Identify what is negative going on inside me. I need to identify it first, eradicate it, throw it out of the house, and like it is a poisonous weed in a beautiful garden of mine. So I will never ever tolerate anything which is negative. So that is, the next is reframe negative thoughts into positive empowering one. The third is focus on the present moment rather than dwelling in the past or worrying about the future. Not to dwell in the past. Either the past was a good one, the past is a bad one, but do not dwell in the past at all. Overwhelming number of the people, they keep repenting, they keep regretting. I shouldn't have done this thing, I rather should have done this thing. So for all those people, let me tell you that not to live in the past at all, not to dwell in the past at all, not to keep worrying about the future. The past is for the purpose of learning, the future is for the purpose of planning and preparation, nothing else. Learn from the previous experiences, then let it go, let it go. Do not cry over the spilt milk, do not dwell in the past at all. As for the future is concerned, stop worrying, plan whatever you can, prepare what you can, then let it go. Now moving to the next segment of our talk, it is called emotional regulation. We need to better manage, and we need to better regulate our emotions. How can we do that? Simply there are 3 points. Number one, it is recognize and accept your emotion. Recognizing it on the one hand, accepting it on the other hand, because unless and until we recognize and we accept it, we can't move forward at all. We cannot keep ourselves in a state of denial. So for that, recognize and accept your emotions. The second is practice emotional labeling to process and release emotion. What is the labeling of the emotion? So if at all somebody is feeling jealousy, So we need to identify it, that this is the emotion of jealousy and it is a negative emotion. I have labeled it. Then there is an emotion of anger, and this is also not positive. This is negative. Label it and put it there. Then we need to know that this is the emotion of jealousy and it is also negative. Label it, write a name on it, put it there. Then there is an emotion of empathy, and this emotion of empathy, it is quite positive one. The emotion of kindness, that is quite positive one. Then it is the emotion of love, which is quite positive one. So that is all. It is the emotion of expressing oneself, and I do want to express myself in a creative manner. It is, practice emotional labeling to process and release them. It will help us a lot in releasing those emotions, the negative emotions, because we know, because we have identified it, because we have labeled it. Now it is the third is, that is develop self-compassion. Treat yourself with a kindness. Yes, self-compassion. We are human, and to err is human. We are often seen, making mistakes and error. We fall, we suffer a failure, we suffer a setback. In all of those situations, don't make yourself a target of, harsh criticism. Do not do the self-loathing. What is needed here is, that is to fall in love with you and to treat yourself with the kindness and with the compassion, the way we do once a very loved one does fail in their life or suffer a setback. What we do, we don't try to sprinkle the salt on their wound, rather we try to console them. So in the same manner, we need to treat ourselves with the compassion. So that is, now once we have talked about emotional management, once we have talked about the thought management, then we are going to talk about focus on, focus and concentration. We also spoke about mindfulness and meditation. But honorable friends, now we are going to talk about, it is the focus and it is the concentration, which is also something very important. Number one, that set clear goals and priorities. Our goals should be clear on the one hand, achievable, realistic on the other hand, and we need to set priorities in our life. We do have to do several things, but each and everything is not of the same importance at all. For all that reason, we need to prioritize them. Now the second thing is, that is eliminate distractions and create a conducive environment. Elimination of the distraction. If at all your phone keep ringing all the time, if at all the notifications from the social media keep the pouring, keep pouring and distracting. So in that context, I think we need to silence our mind. If at all there are frequent interruptions, we need to do something about that as well. So what is needed is that we need to eliminate distractions and creating a conducive environment where we can work with the focus and the concentration. Now the third is practice focus enhancing techniques. Practice focus enhancing techniques. Now one of those, it is the Pomodoro technique, and the Pomodoro technique says that you need to work with the full focus and concentration, but only for 25 minutes. After that, it is important to take a break of 5 minutes. While you are taking break, not to keep sitting on your work seat, or rather go a bit away and do something else for the purpose of relaxation, for the purpose of taking breaks. So it is practice self. It is the we need to practice the concentration technique. So my dear friends and fellows, it is now we are going to talk about, as a next step, it is the self-discipline and willpower, which does play a very important role indeed, because those people who are self-disciplined, they are leading a much better life as compared to those people. I think, rather I shall say, the better self-disciplined we are, the better automatically your life will become. So in that context, let's try to develop the self-discipline, let's try to develop the willpower. So for that purpose, first of all, develop a growth mindset and view challenges as opportunities. Developing a growth mindset and view challenges as opportunities, because as far these challenges are concerned, as far these difficulties are concerned, it is upon us whether we are going to take benefit out of that or not. I think if at all we are having a growth mindset, as far our growth mindset is concerned, the mindset says, this mindset says that we can learn a lot, we can become more flexible, we can become more tough, we can become more capable if at all we are facing the difficulties and the troubles in our life. So develop the growth mindset, and view challenges as opportunities. Number two, create a schedule and stick to it. Yes, creating a schedule and then sticking to it as well. And the third is practice self-compassion when you make mistakes. Yes, practicing self-compassion when we make mistakes. And at the end of our talk today, we are going to mention the neuroplasticity and the rewiring. The neuroplasticity and the rewiring. That is, understand that your brain can rewire and adopt. Yes, everybody's brain can rewire. Everybody's brain can adopt the change, the difficult, the new circumstances. And the second is practice new habits and thought patterns, consistently. Practicing new habits and thought patterns consistently. Keep developing new and better habits. Keep developing new habits and thought patterns as well, but on a consistent basis. Lastly, it is celebrate small wins and reinforce positive changes. Celebrating the small wins and celebrating the small wins and reinforcing positive changes, because if at all we don't appreciate ourselves for the smaller changes, for the smaller achievements, so it means that we don't encourage ourselves, while it is extremely important to let ourselves know that even the smaller improvement does matter. And if at all we keep making the smaller improvement, the day is not far away when we will be a winner, when we will succeed all that. So my dear friends and fellows, it is really important that we do celebrate. As for the major victories are concerned, these does not happen frequently, rather it does happen rarely. If at all we are waiting for any major victory, that I don't deserve to appreciate myself, that I don't need to celebrate unless and until I achieve something bigger, I think this approach is totally and absolutely wrong. What is needed here is that we need to appreciate, we need to celebrate even the smaller wins. So in this manner we are sending a message to ourselves that it is good to move forward, it is good to make improvement. So our today's topic was highly beneficial. So that is all from me today. Thank you very much.